Welcome back to Feldy, the app by Farmer Yip for Farming Sim 11. I'm in the process, just starting, of replanting all of our fields. We finished planting potatoes over here. I've made an opening round for this over here. We're planting OSR because we're close to the biofuel maker over here, which is where we will be using our OSR. I could plant canola, but I'm kind of intrigued with the idea of OSR. You may recall in this one here, we have to windrow it all and then pick it up with the combine header. So, I'm gonna go check something out here real quick. Why are you driving back? He's got a full load of wool and he's headed back with it. Probably what I forgot to do was... No, don't do that. Oh, he gets it in his head of where he wants to go and doesn't want to... now what am I, stuck? Yikes. Yeah, I think there is kind of a drop off on the road right there. There we go. Let's see if I can get back up here. Let's see if he will change his... No. I'm going to just bring him up here manually. He obviously is set on going home or back to the point where he's picking up wool. And really, we only have one more pickup for him to do. He takes 2,000 units at a time. So when he returns up there for fleece, he's going to get it down to 5,500, and I don't want to take any more out as that will then close Kelp Island. And we, of course, don't want to do that, as that's a source of our fertilizer. And speaking of that, we're going to be looking at the ad here shortly to see kind of how that fertilizer spreader works. I at least wanted to drop this off. Oh, not quite to be able to. I can at least repay 10. We'll have one more. Maybe I can get 10 more paid. Stop at the last. Okay, I think he's figured out what he needs to do. Let me go back to my tractor here. I think I have this pointed straight enough. I want him at 360. I want to do this kind of where it's 0. That's probably close enough. Hopefully from here he can... There we go. We'll just hire it done. And hopefully he can handle planting this for us. We're going to have a bunch of cleanup to do. We can do it quicker when we don't hire, but that's okay. For right now, I want to hire and keep him going while we head over here to... Nope, not you. Oh, I guess we got to go through all of them. Cycle back. Here we go. I'm going to take him down over the hill and we'll see if we can figure out how this thing is supposed to work. Maybe on the way we could study our help menu. Well, that tells me everything I need to know. B. Azoras Indit. Yeah, this is obviously another language. B, I guess that's the key that I would press. Let's see, is there anything I don't have to open? Oh, hey now. Okay, so that is going to... I see what that does. Alright, well, if everybody can hold their nose a little bit, we'll get spreading here. I'll just hit B. Oh, except I can't go through that fence, apparently. But I can on that one. Well, look at that. It's just pouring it out the side. And You know, this is probably going to take a while for it to use it all up. That's spreading it a fair distance. I may go into the mod and see if I can modify the text that appears there so that we understand, at least for me in English. I don't know what language that is there. But look at that, it's kicking it out the side. I really like the particle animation. That's kind of cool, even if it doesn't look like it's totally kicking it all the way to the side. It obviously is taking a piece there. We turn that off. It also is revving the tractor by quite a bit too. That is very interesting. So there must be some scripts working in the background here. Yeah, I just drove through a tree because I can. And this is very, very intriguing. And maybe, you know, it doesn't seem to be using it all that quickly. Maybe this will, I'll have to make that corner without totally blowing up my sheet. Boy, it is letting me, this is letting me do this full bore. I was thinking it would only let me do it at 2, but I think it will let me do it full on at, let me see, is it taking it out? If I slow down, nope, the rate that it takes it out is the same either way. So if I want to cover ground, I can do it, and I can go full, don't do that. Yeah, this is kind of a floppy thing. But when I hit the 3 key on my machine, I am going full speed. So, and it's going to use the same amount regardless. So, very, very interesting. It'll be curious to see how much fertilizer I need to cover the whole map. Most of the map, anyways. And I'm really curious how it's revving the engine, just like it would in real life if we were booking along. And makes me wonder if it's using up additional fuel. Doesn't seem to be. But I also don't see the ability to hire it. It looks like it's either on or off, one or the other. And you know, I seem to recall back in the days of Farm Sim 11, we didn't have the ability to hire the fertilizer spreader or a sprayer, or we've talked about this before, even the mower. Oh, look at that. It looks like my, if I step out of here, can I go do my, there we go. Now I could go straight to it. All right, so I think, let me just check one more time. Make sure, oops, it's here. 7,500. Okay, one more load of fleece, then I'm going to be done fleecing my sheep, and we'll need to park my little tractor. There we go. I don't want to take it any lower than that. Otherwise, like I say, it's going to close Kelp Island, and we don't want to do that. So we'll leave a little bit of fleece in storage. We won't get greedy. And let me see, stop and last point. All right. Now can I go to the one with the cedar? I can. Wow, I don't know why it works sometimes, but not others. Well, that's very, very interesting. We've now fertilized the one field, and I'm going to just take this off of hire, and we'll take, oh, except I got to do it right. Yeah, my rows won't be quite as straight as the hired help, but oh well. And I will continue planting this here in OSR. And, once again, this map, in my mind, was very far ahead. And maybe, hopefully by now, after 40-some episodes here, you've seen kind of why I've said it was a map kind of ahead of its time with some of the things that are built into it. And we're not even done exploring all of those. But so far as I'm aware, this is the only map that ever had OSR built into it. And in studying the code that Doc Hilty put in place to establish oilseed rape as a crop, it's, I can't remember if I've expressed this before, you don't cut it standing, you have to cut it in a swath. If you do attempt to cut it standing, I don't think it'll give you anything. So in other words, if we came in here with a Yip combine, once this is grown up, it would give us zero. It would cut the crop off, of course, but it wouldn't give us any fruit or any seed from it. So the only way we're going to get some seed for this crop is that we have to windrow it and then come through the combine and the pickup header. And in the previous episode, I showed the pickup header that I purchased. It was horribly expensive, but I knew I was going to be planting a lot of OSR. What I'd like to see is if OSR gives better yield per acre, because it all comes out as canola. And I just want to see if I get a better yield growing OSR versus canola. So maybe what I'll do is this field here I will plant to OSR, and maybe another one over here I will plant to canola. And it won't be perfect, but it will tell me enough what I need to know as to just, how far a combine goes before it fills up, in canola versus OSR. One of the issues with OSR, of course, is the game is designed, you consider the fertilizer that we just put down. The fertilizer is designed in the combine script so that it readily knows how, if it can detect if there is fertilizer present, and it can detect if there isn't, and it will adjust the yield or the output into your combine accordingly. Well, it's going to be a little bit different when we're harvesting from a windrow, because I don't think it'll be able to tell if there is a fertilizer layer or not. I kind of have messed and fiddled with the scripts just a little bit to get it to recognize the fertilizer. So in other words, and we're very limited here in FarmSim 11 in terms of the size of the windrow. I know later versions, maybe it started in FarmSim 13, for sure in FarmSim 15. When you look at a windrow, it had several layers of how full it would be, and the game would tell just how big a windrow was, and so it would dictate how many bales you could make from the windrow. I think primarily bales. But we didn't have that here in FarmSim 11, so we had like 3 layers, I think, for making a windrow, and a lot of times, even whether you'd fertilized or not, you may already have filled up those 3 layers. So I know I added a couple things, on the script or whatever to try to recognize it, make it a little bit bigger windrow, and hopefully that feeds into the script, that picks up those windrows. I think Doc Hilty added a script so it would recognize a crop as it picked it up. And anyway, we'll see. We'll see what it's able to do in recognizing fertilizer and impacting the yield. But that's kind of why I want to try both crops, both canola and OSR, to see which gives us the best bang for the buck. I will say that OSR is going to take longer to harvest because it requires an extra step. All right, let me just hire this guy. Hopefully that's good enough. We'll get him going back and forth. We'll hop over to our tractor here, and we'll get this sold. Hopefully we'll have another, oh, it'd be nice if we had, oh, we won't get 15,000. I know we'll have 10 at least. Yeah, it's just not going to reach to 15. Okay, let's buzz off. Not bad. We got down to 35,000. And let me see here. Where to store this jukebox? You know, maybe I will just send him back to the sheep. We can store the jukebox up there. I don't know that we'll be doing anything else with it. We'll drop it up there, then we'll figure out what to do with our tractor. Now, well, let me go off of here back to my cedar. It did. Now, why is that so inconsistent? Thank you very much, hired help. And we'll just kind of continue counterclockwise here as we continue seeding OSR into this field. And I think I'm going to have a terrific amount of off-cam work to do here. I can't imagine anybody wanting to watch me just plant field after field, but it's something that needs to be done. Obviously, we were plumb out of crop, and so if we hope to harvest anything again in here, we're going to have to replant. And you know, it does bring up an interesting concept too. I remember a friend of mine that I spent quite a bit of time on his server playing Farm Sim 17 back in the day. He commented that he thought that in the Farm Sim world, most people, the reason they played it was basically just to harvest. There was no interest in other aspects of the game. What most of them simply wanted to do, if they wanted to take up an evening or whatever, was dig out the combine, go out, cut some wheat or whatever, get the harvest, and that's really all that they wanted to do in the game. And I don't know if that's true. I'm sure that is true of some people. I don't know if it's the majority of people or just what. I've seen this game. It really gives a whole lot of different things to a lot of people, in my opinion. I enjoy it all. My problem is there's just not enough hours in the day to do everything. So a lot of times, some of the tedious tasks, I will just have, I'll hire it done. I'll use Courseplay, kind of like we've seen of hauling the wool, because I just don't have time. I'm busy in my real life too. And this is just for hobby and extra enjoyment, so there's just not enough hours in the day, but I genuinely enjoy it all. But I know some people, the whole idea of this game is, you know, especially once Farming Sim 15 came out, is they see timber in it. They want to do, it's a logging simulator. Matter of fact, I think I've heard it's there are some logging simulators out there, or with logging type equipment, but that what they had here, what they created in Farming Sim was even better than those. And so a lot of people, it's attracted a lot of people that are interested in that, and they don't do anything with farming. I met another fellow who was interested in Farming Sim primarily for mining. And so he worked on modding a whole bunch of equipment, you know, bulldozers and excavators and all these different rock crushing equipment and paving. Those are the kinds of things that he made, and in his maps, you'd probably be right at home on this one here. You know, he one of the things he always built into the corner of him was a massive quarry, and he had material down there that you could go excavate out. And this was in later versions of the game, and this is one reason why I say Farmer Yip's map was ahead of the curve, because here it is Farm Sim 11, and he already had that kind of functionality built into it. And then there's other people who, you know, enjoy the farming, and I have another friend, I think this would be Russell. He comments faithfully on my videos and has been a big supporter to me. But But I think he primarily, and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding of his style of play is he primarily does it for dairying. So he's very interested in animal husbandry and everything that goes into taking care of animals. So let me hire this guy and see if I can keep him going. Is that about the right angle? There he slows down. And let me back up to our tractor. Alright. Generally don't like leaving our equipment all over the place, but I think we'll do that here. Just make sure to keep it away from where the trigger is. Try to put it right here where we can see it. And there goes our jukebox. Juke, juke, juke. I kind of think we'll use it also for eggs or chickens once we get those going. But for the moment, let me reset my courses, get those off of here. And what now should I do with this tractor? It's nice to have a little bit more tractive power in here. You know, maybe to haul a trailer, or, it's kind of limited before just having the two tractors, the two Rabas, and, I didn't even see what a new Raba would cost, although it would look just as old and decrepit as the ones that we have. But I kind of think they were quite a bit more expensive than just getting a Lizard. I keep wanting to call it a 20 or a 7210. Oh, it keeps jiggering around. 2850C. Ah, so much nostalgia just hearing this thing put, put, put. So obviously there's tons of fields here that need to be replanted, and I don't know that I need this for a while. Maybe this is a tractor I would use eventually to trim the hedge. That might be something I can do with it. Probably a lot of things, really. But for the moment, I'm gonna, actually, let me go up here. We'll fill it full of juice and leave it ready to be of use whenever we need it again. I kind of dropped a fuel trailer here. I don't really need to tow it around. I figured this was a central enough location to where we could use it to fuel up. And then I have that other one down with the TSL trailer that I have on the back of our Land Rover. And that also has a fuel refill in it. So anyway, we'll drop this here. And let me see if it'll let me go back if I use my fast switcher. Cool, it does. I am gonna take this off higher mode. Oh yes, it's protesting. But it's very interesting as I think about that. When I fertilize a field, it lets me go as fast as I want, and it doesn't change the output of the fertilizer, which is pretty cool. And it means I should be able to get a lot of mileage with those 50,000 liters that was in it. But it may not do the entire map. We'll just have to see. And like I say, I don't remember if I have previously modded the fertilizer spreader. It could be I modded it to hold more, so I didn't have to take it down to refill as often. And I almost think I may have jimmied the how far it kicks out fertilizer. I don't remember that for sure, nor do I remember the version that got uploaded to ModHoster. So your mileage may vary if you try this map and download the version that's in there. So sorry if Armor Yip if I got the wrong one on there. So I'll be curious too, because I know we talked about this a long time ago when I showed a little spreadsheet that I had made, to figure out how long it'll take for everything to grow in here. You know, in the base game, everything grows very rapidly. So it's not uncommon, like we're doing here, to be planting a field, and you look across on the other side of the field, and stuff is already shooting up out of the ground. I've even had cases where if the field is big enough, you're still planting, and the other end of the field is ready to be harvested. Well, that's just ridiculous. So I wanted to slam the brakes on that a little in here to hopefully keep that from happening, because I know when I do this, I need to come right in behind this with the fertilizer spreader and at least get that put on there before it looks all ready to harvest and everything. And truth be told, maybe I could have gotten further faster in here if I would have allocated money to buying the fertilizer spreader earlier. But the hard part is I had to get a whole bunch of equipment just to get the kelp fertilizer gate open. You know, we had to go up there to the sheep. Yeah, so it's just hard to say if there would have been a way to do it quicker. Maybe I could have purchased a fertilizer spreader, a conventional one, with the game, and maybe there's something probably with this trailer I could have refilled it, even if there wasn't a refill point on the map. And then what I could have done was gone around and fertilized all my crops before I harvested them, which would have led to bigger yields and more money quicker. But like I say, that it just isn't something you would do in real life. You know, number one, if you took a fertilizer spreader out there and harvestable crop, you would smash a good lot of it to the ground. And second of all, it wouldn't do any good. You know, when you look at a field of wheat or barley or corn or whatever, when it's ready to harvest, it's dried out. The plant has given every ounce of everything that it has just to produce the seed. And matter of fact, the plant is basically dead. So fertilizing it at that point would have no benefit, and so you'd spend all this money, and you, in real life I'm talking, and you would receive no good. Now in the game, it of course would give you credit for it, but anyway, it's just something I opted not to do. All right, so we just finished the largest field that we have down. Well, maybe 31's a little bit larger yet. So I think I'll take them up here. Let's get, oh, you know what? Let me take care of this right now. Grass. Is that grass? I think. Yeah, that's grass. So remember we had this little whoopee with our cultivator, and I've always wanted to come fix it. So we're going to do that here right now. We'll take just a little bit of grass and plant it along the edge. Boom, there we go. Now, interestingly, it puts drill rows there. So, you know, I always thought that, and I know it's this way in, Farm Sim 15, that the planter, it doesn't put down drill rows. It returns the texture to the surrounding area when you plant grass. Oh yeah, I was forgetting. Let me turn this. Oop, I just went past it. I want to do canola. There it is. I think that's canola. So when I do this field over here, I'm going to plant conventional canola. So I'm not going to windrow this. This I will cut to end. But it'll give some ideas to which field gives a better yield. But I'll get him going up here. I'll go around, get it set so he can be hired, hopefully. And then I'll go back to my fertilizer spreader and kind of keep up on that. The other thing I've periodically tried to do in here too, and I haven't said much about it, but I've tried some of these field edges, they're just so bumpy. I've tried to smooth them off a little bit off cam. Oops, get rid of my PDA map. With varying degrees of success. Some of it I won't be able to, but we'll see. We will see. I don't know that I need to do any further around, so let me come up here and let me see if I can hire this, get it ready. I know right down here it's going to do these short little runs, but that's okay. Alright, that's about right. I need to get over here and move my Land Rover. Get out of his way. Haven't had to use it yet. Yes, he made that turn, no problem. We'll have some cleanup we need to do. And there is the bell. I don't think I'm going to need to refill them on this field. Oops. Whoa, I kind of slammed it a little bit. Okay, so in order to use or to refill seed and fertilizer, it says key K. And what it does is it lays out these pallets. And I'll just go ahead and put them here. Because somewhere in here I'm going to need to refill. Now, well, let me go to forager. I don't go to forager. TG10. Let me go to 3. There. Okay, it took me over there. Alright, well, I've already fertilized this field over here. So now I have another one to do. And I'll just get going here on it. And we've already heard the bell ring. And once again, that's just a timer that was a gift to me from my good friend Eustace Farmer, or Atomic 67 as he was known in later years, to help me put these episodes to half of an hour. So I better not say much more. Otherwise, I'll be way over half an hour. But I do want to say thank you for coming along to... Oh, I got kicked off the hill. Thank you for coming along to watch this with me. And I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.